Let's jump to Joshua Jefferson. Jefferson, the classic fun college basketball story. Spent 4 years at Iowa State, got better every year. No, actually, he started at St. Mary's. I'm wrong.
Oh,
Coop, we were wrong. Wow, look at that.
wow.
We're losers. He spent 2 years
Embarrassing.
at St. Mary's, actually, where, but he did get better all 4 years, right? There's some good stuff there. He's November 21st, 73 birthday, which means he's 22. His rookie season will be his age 23 season. This is another unk. He is, can I say that phrase? I'm not cool enough to say
I
unk.
think we're unk, bro. So I
Yeah.
don't know if we can.
I'm the type of person who still says unk, meaning like uncle, when I know now it means uncool, but I haven't quite adjusted that in my vocabulary. That's the point of my life I'm getting to. So, but anyways, Jefferson measured 6'7 3/4", so exactly the same height as Graves. 6'10 3/4" wingspan, so slightly smaller wingspan. That's an 8'8.5" standing reach. 246 pounds for whatever that's worth. He's a well built young man. Played in all 35 games this year. Started all 35. Well, that's not all the games. He actually missed the final 2 tournament games for Iowa State, sadly, which ruined my bracket because I had them in the championship. But whatever. He averaged 16 points on 47.1, 34.5, 70 shooting splits, grabbed 7.4 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1.6 steals, 0.8 blocks, 2.5 turnovers, 2.3 fouls. Some more advanced stats. And a lot. I'll mention kind of some differences in past years. His usage was way higher this year, 28.6. That's a huge jump from the last year, which was 23.5. But the efficiencies kind of went down in turn, 51.7. 56 for effective field goal and true shooting. 7.2 offensive rebound rate, slight drop, but consistent defensive rebound rate, 21.8. 27.7 assist rate is quite a bit higher, and it actually coincided with a drop in turnover rate. It dropped to 16.7. That's a 1.9 assist turnover. That's a really good number. 3.4 block rate, 3.1 steal rate. Both those are fine. The block rate's not crazy impressive because he was, a 4. But I will say he spends a lot of time out there, like Iowa State's defense is kind of this aggressive, trapping, hedging, rotating around defense, and so the steal rate feels commensurate. The steal rate is actually a drop from the year before. 51.7 free throw rate, that's a good number. He was at 51 the year before, which both are huge jumps from a low 21.9 at St. Mary's. He dunked 16 times. He shot 60.7% on close twos, which is the big number that fell off. He was at 69.4% the year before. 38.7% on 124 long twos, 70% from the free throw line, took 5.9 3-point attempts for 100 possessions, shot 34.5%. I'm just going to give this like my big picture on it, Coop, and I want you to pick it apart. Joshua Jefferson is really good at basketball. I'm not sure he is good enough at anything to be an NBA player. That's really where I'm at. Like he feels like the classic quad A NBA player. Like this guy's going to be really good on Barcelona in a few years because he's just like, not like a star, not like a EuroLeague MVP, but like he's just good at basketball and he'll help that team win. But I'm just like nothing really jumps out to me as like that's definitely an NBA skill. It concerns me, and I'll give you an example. It concerns me that I think the jumper looks good. He seems to have comfortable range. He has a good flow of energy. It looks fine. There's nothing obviously broken. And he took a good amount, and it still just didn't go in. A part of me wishes there was something that was obviously broken. And I was like, oh, maybe if he fixes that, then it'd be good. But it kind of looks fine. There's nothing I'd really change. Like the shot prep is fine. He clearly works very hard at it, and it's still not that good. Now, for some more like stats on that, he was in the 61st percentile catch and shoot. That's 36%, 53% effective field goal rate. Pretty similar numbers guarded versus unguarded. He had to take quite a few guarded ones. Barely took any off the dribble, was horrible at them. Runners barely took any. Hook shots, he was fine at 50% on hook shots. It's actually pretty good, 74th percentile. But his touch around the rim seemed bad, 51%, or 55%. That's 51st percentile. I'm just offensively, I'm just not sure he does anything enough. And then I don't think the defense is so good that it overcomes that.
Yeah. That's kind of the problem. He's also I think the sell with him is he's this key part of really good teams for like a long time. Every single team he's been on, they're good. Like going back to, playing 50% of minutes at St. Mary's, like he's a good contributor on a good St. Mary's squad. He's a great contributor on two elite Iowa State teams when he's healthy. He's one of those guys where it's like it's kind of, you look at him and you're like, well, what do you actually do that's very good? It's like, oh, he's kind of a bit passer. He loves to get into those like back cuts where the, Taman Lipsy's zooming out of the corner, back cutting, and he can time those up really well. And he's a good DHO guy. He's just a glue guy, right? Like that's it. He can kind of play, but is he actually good at things? I think he's Timu Yaxel Lindeberg. Is that a fair comparison? Like he's kind of good at stuff.
You know who you reminded me of the most? And this is bad because it's part of why I'm like struggling is I like this guy. He reminded me a lot of Isaiah Livers. I don't know if you remember him from those Michigan teams a few years ago. Livers was more of a shooter, less of a passer, but kind of in that mold. Here's the good on Joshua is that he contributed to and was a part of a really good defense and made all the very difficult rotations and played with a requisite amount of effort despite being a bigger, stronger guy. He can get rebounds. He can dribble with both hands. He can make hook shots with both hands. He can throw passes with both hands. There are quite a few fairly fun passes on film, but they're all he's going to have to be connected passes in the NBA because he can't create advantage. He's not a particularly good ball handler. He can dribble and he has the requisite amount of kind of weird, funky movement stuff to, be fine in certain situations. Like he will be able to score in transition occasionally in the NBA. But is he a half-court advantage creator? No. Is he big enough to be and he doesn't set good enough screen. Like he's not like an Alan Graves level, physical beast in terms of just shoving dudes around sometimes, as a screener to be used in short roll a ton. He's not quite that level of offensive rebounder. He's fine, but he's not, elite, I wouldn't say. Part of the reason that he got to be even the number is as good as it is that, they were a team that had two guys crashing all the time, and he kind of just sometimes would get the benefit of Blake Buchanan's getting blocked out, and it would kind of fall into his lap. So I don't know. Again, I don't want to be a hater. I think there's some good stuff, but I'm just I don't know. I don't know. I'm struggling here, Coop. So do you I guess give me your big picture. Are you the same way on Jefferson, or where's your head at with this?
I really think it just comes down to he wins, right? He wins basketball games, and it's kind of the argument for for Graves, where it's just it doesn't seem like any one thing pops, and the strengths aren't as strong in the statistical profile. I think that's kind of the big worry is he's older. He's not 19, 20 years old. I don't know. You watch him and you're like, this guy is so cool. He's so interesting. He's so good. And then you look at the stats and it's does he actually even do anything well other than rebound the basketball? It's just such a weird spot to be in. He grabs rebounds. He has some cool passes. He has good hands, but they're not elite. He's not big for a forward. He's average forward size. I do think there's really something to be said for he's just 6'8" and can play basketball. We've talked about that time and again. NBA teams just desperately need guys who have legit size and can actually play high feel, smart basketball. And I do think Jefferson can do that. But Jefferson to me kind of profiles as this perfect high second round pick. We're out of guys that we really like in the first, let's go throw. But I don't know. It's Isaiah Livers. It feels like he bounced around the league, but really he just bounced in and out of Detroit's lineup for, however many years. And I feel like that could be Jefferson. I'm kind of wary of drafting him and giving him a full contract as someone of that age who was not as dominant as he needed to be, even in the Big 12, even in the best conference in college basketball, even though he was like the second best player on a really good team. You know, if you could get him on like a guaranteed small deal at the beginning of the second, go for it. See if he's anything. Because if that hits, cool. But I don't want to give him like this whole. I'm too nervous about the fact that maybe he's just not good enough to give him like a full 4-year contract.
Yeah, let me throw out some names at you, and is the bet that this is like bigger Josh Hart, like kind of a mediocre shooter, but good enough that like every once in a while he'll step into an open one and make it, and so in the regular season you kind of think about it, and then in the playoffs you stick Wemby on him. Rugged rebounder. I don't think he is quite that level of rebounder, but like transition driver. I actually think the transition game can pick up more in the NBA. I thought he was a really good transition passer, especially in trail situations, without it having to be the Amari Williams, well, we're just running delay every time. That could be good. The big thing that concerns me is just he's like this type of guy. I feel like needs to be a better finisher, and like some of it is Iowa State spacing was not great. Like, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of times he's driving into two guys, but at a certain point, I'm like, so like sometimes you've got to figure it out. I wonder if he's more like if that's kind of who he is. Now, obviously, he's bigger, but he's a worse finisher. Like it's tough for me. Like if you're just not an efficient scorer, it's tough. And he just wasn't that efficient as a scorer. So even though I like the passing, I thought the defense was fine, not elite. Like I would expect him to be a contributor defensively. That might be, if there's one thing I'm missing on, it might just be that he's a better defender than I'm giving him credit for. I just thought like his third and fourth step defensively were pretty rough, which so were Graves, but he didn't quite have like the hip cleverness or the hands to continue to figure stuff out. He wasn't that level of playmaker. Most of his steals were in rotation, which in some ways is good, but in some ways is like, I wish there was maybe a little bit more stuff there. Like he did a good job on Coop. He did a good job on those type of, college forwards, but I never really felt impressed by him guarding the NBA or sub NBA wings and guards. I don't think he's so strong that he bangs super well with big guys down low. He played in a scheme that was really aggressive defensively, but I also do think in some ways limits certain types of reads, and other ones it does accentuate. To me, he was the third best prospect on this team, truthfully, and I'm just not sure I can get over that. Like, I like Momcilovic a lot. I wish he would have come out. I wish he would have been in this class. I think he's an unbelievable player, an unbelievable shooter. And Jefferson was really good at running scheme stuff for Momcilovic, like really good. His Jaeger Demon type decisions, like I'm going to stand here and just pass to whoever's open off of this, were great. And it's not all that. Like I liked a lot of his turnovers. Like his turnovers are proactive passes a lot of times, but some of them were just like, he just tried to take a dribble through a crowd and he just couldn't do it. Like I don't know. I've missed on this type of guy before, like these bigger forwards sometimes just figure it out. Like I'm sure there's some people will say like a Kyle Anderson type, but I wasn't that impressed by the strength or the movement or physicality defensively. So I'm not out. I actually probably would draft him with a contract. Like I probably prefer him to Nate Ament. Probably not to Coop, but they're at least close. Him and Coop, he's probably going to end up a top 30 guy for me. So I don't want to seem like I'm like crazy, crazy low on him. I'm just not like, nothing about him enthuses me. I'm not like, oh man, I'd be so excited to draft Joshua Jefferson. If he sticks around in the league, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be a little surprised if he's ever a real rotation player on really good teams. Unless either the defense really picks up or the shooting becomes better than it is right now, which is, both of those things are possible. And that's why I have him above my two-way tier. I do think, even though he's old, I'd give him a real second round contract. Like I expect, especially early in his career, this guy to be a valuable 13th guy. Step in when he's playing, when someone's hurt, and play spot minutes. I don't think he's too dissimilar from prospect Trace Jackson Davis, actually. Obviously not that level of athlete, but more of a shooter and less of a big, more of a forward wing type. But like in terms of level of impact, if that's who he is, then that's fine as a second rounder. But not a ton beyond that. Coop, where are you at with Jefferson? And if there's anything else you want to say, go ahead.
I think he's kind of like the requisite, just like, he played on good teams. And I do think that, like, maybe this Iowa State team is better than we think about, like, all time. And, Jefferson, I like him more than Lipsy. I assume that's the other guy you think is better than him as a prospect. Lipsy is just kind of a pest, and I think that's really interesting. And, we've seen a few of those guys succeed in the league. But I think Jefferson, like, he's just got a little more funk. He's bigger, and I think the bar for how good you have to be at basketball at 6'8" is just lower. And I do think that Jefferson, I think he was tougher than you thought he was. There's a world where he, like, just sticks around and does some fun stuff. Do I have the balls to put him, like, no, I don't. I'm going to put him at the top of my real contracts tier, right above Christian Anderson. I think he's, like, a really interesting bet in, like, the late first, early second. Get this guy on your team. I think you'll know in, like, 20 minutes, playing against your summer league team, if he's, like, got it or not, which is I think the big bet for me. So I really like him, and I hope it works out for him because he's the kind of player we probably want more of in the league, and hopefully he can actually make layups.
Yeah. My one pushback to the Iowa State thing, which I think is a great point, maybe they're just better than we think. I also think that Iowa State is maybe just a factory of turning mediocre players into, like, really good statistical players. Like, he was not, like, you would not look at his sophomore year at St. Mary's and say, oh man, like, what a guy. Like, that's just a fact. Like, I don't think anyone was looking at that and being like, oh, that's future NBA prospect with his 21% free throw rate in the WCC. I think TJ Altenberger is just, like, he's kind of gangster. Like, he's kind of like that in terms of, like, just identifying guys. Like, he turned a team, and I was at WCU with Brandon Chatfield and Deshaun Jackson. He turned a big man rotation with those two guys into a top 3 seed in March. Like, that guy is a motherfucking, like, dog. Like, he's got some stuff to him, and I kind of think that maybe he's going to make certain, especially bigs, like, look better than they are as prospects. Like, which is fine. Like that's great. But I do think that's kind of the give and take, where it's like maybe they're better than we think historically, and him getting hurt clearly messed them up in March. But on the flip side, maybe he's, like, Altenberger is just really good at making these guys statistically viable in a way that they just wouldn't be in most other circumstances. And so that's kind of the pushback there. Like, and the Big 12 is a great defensive. Bad time to do the dishes.
The listeners love it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It makes them feel right at home, like they've stepped into our home and are witnessing, like, our home as though we live together.
No, yeah, our home, 3 hours apart. Anyways, okay, give me 1 second.
Okay. Anything funny I can say here that I can put at the end of the podcast? No, I don't think there is. I don't know.
Anyways, I can't remember exactly what it was. But I wonder if that's who if it's more like Josh Hart. Cooper, I'm so sorry about your editing.
It's okay.